joined now by France 24's diplomatic editor, Armen Georgian, to discuss that. Armen, give us a sense of what led up to this key moment, the steps that brought us to this hopeful break in the problems.
Well, the economy is really crucial to understanding this whole timeline, James, because it was actually sparked the protest movement in December of last year, eventually morphed into this broader movement that finally ousted Omar al-Bashir. So the economy has all but collapsed in recent years. You've had this combination of currency devaluations and exchange rate, currency devaluations and inflation, which has been pushing up unemployment and poverty. So that's going to be
people couldn't afford to eat, basically.
Yeah, they couldn't afford to
eat. The ouster of Omar al-Bashir.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to be the huge challenge, of course, of this new sovereign council. In terms of the other key dates, well, the actual ouster itself of Bashir happened on April the 11th, but then another key date was the Khartoum massacre in June, at the beginning of June, and that was actually carried out by forces loyal to the, as it was then, the Transition Military Council. That council, the TMC, has now been replaced by the Sovereign Council, but it's that Khartoum massacre where dozens of civilians were killed that has created, or should we say, added to the already existing distrust between the civilian and the military side, which of course continues to this day, despite the formation of this Sovereign Council.
Okay, so months of protests that led to Omar al-Bashir's ouster, then this military council that came into place, then a crackdown, some 250 people killed, a standoff and sit-ins between the protest movement and the army, and now they're supposed to work together. How realistic is that, given that there must be huge amounts of distrust between protesters who have been targeted by the army, and the army who obviously ideally don't want to share the decision-making process with a protest movement?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at there's two layers of this in a way. You've got a technocratic administration that is going to be led by a new civilian prime minister. So you've got that, and in parallel to that, you've got the Sovereign Council, which is where the real power lies. The question then is, who has the real power within the Sovereign Council? Well, if you break down the 11 members, there are actually more civilians than military men. There are 5 military people, 6 civilians. But actually, the most influence is held by the military minority in the council, the numerical minority. You've got the leader of the Sovereign Council for the first 21 months, which is a military officer, Lieutenant General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. You have other key military figures there that are former close associates of Omar al-Bashir and control of the defense and interior ministries that will be held by military people as well. And if you look at other transitions of this kind around the world, moves away from junta rule, for example, in Myanmar, what does the military do? They make sure that they keep a lot of influence even after elections are held. In the case of Sudan, we're supposed to have elections at the end of a 3-year process, but you can be sure the military will continue to try to pull the strings. They've dominated Sudan since 1956. There's no reason why they're going to give up that influence now.